Hi everyone, this is Crystal and I'm back today with another layout. Today I'm doing something a little bit different. I'm playing with a collection that has been in my stash for quite some time that I haven't even touched. If you saw some of my earlier videos, I did the same thing with a Pinkfresh Studio collection, and I decided I had so much fun just getting it out and putting it to use that I wanted to do it again. So this is October Afternoon. So it's been around for quite a while. The only thing that I have from the original collection is this one 12 by 12 paper. It's a cut apart sheet. And then, I don't know, maybe 2 years ago, I ordered from Peachy Cheap. They had a reproduction of some of the elements from this collection. So they printed these papers, which are 8.5 by 11, and then also some cards and some ephemera. So these are die cut ephemera and some, I think, 2x2 and 3x3 and 3x4 cards, and some puffy stickers as well, which you'll see here in a second. So I'm just kind of walking you through everything that came in this collection. It was really reasonably priced. I really like that Peachy Cheap is doing this because I was a huge October Afternoon fan, and I'm so sad that they aren't producing anything anymore. That being said, I didn't ever use it because I was hoarding it. So I really wanted to get some of this used up and actually in my album so I could appreciate it instead of it just sitting in my stash. So I'm just showing you all of the different cards. There were quite a few of these 3x3 cards, which I don't use a lot of 3x3 cards. They're a little bit awkward for me. But I do manage to get a few on this page, as you'll see here in a second. So the photo that I'm using for this page is not a new one. It's a couple years old, but it just matched so perfectly with this 3x3 card from the collection that I had to use it. So this is a picture of my niece, Brillie, in a little baby pool, and I was soaking my feet next to her. It was a day I was babysitting her. And I was just showing you that I had originally thought I would use a white cardstock background, but it just clashed too much with the off-whites in this collection. So instead, I pulled out this paper, which is actually from Echo Park, and it's one that I used in my 100-day project. So I was testing some white splatters, how to get a good white splatter on a colored background, and I just kept it just in case I would want to use it, and it's going to work perfectly for this layout. So that's going to be my background. And even though I didn't want to use the white because of the off-white in the collection, there is some white in this collection, so those white splatters are not going to stand out too much. It's going to look just fine. So I definitely want to use that 3x3 card. I'm just going through the rest of the elements in this kit to see what else I might want to use. That sun appears several times in the kit, and I definitely want to use one of those. I'm also thinking of backing my paper with, or backing my photo, that is, with a few of these papers. I really want to bring in more yellow just to make it a super fun and bright layout. So I'm thinking of one of those yellows, and then maybe that strawberry paper. I'm actually holding a cider in my hand, so it's a cherry cider, not a strawberry cider, but I thought it would still work pretty well. Pick up on the fact that there's a fruity drink in my hand, if nothing else. And what you saw me do just a second ago, I usually write the date of the photos on the back of them, at least I try to. But if you've seen this channel, or any of my other videos on this channel, you know I never remember the date once I glue the photo down. So I actually wrote the date down this time. I was so proud of myself for remembering to write the date on a little sticky note and put it there at the top of the page so I would remember when it came time to add it. But I think I actually do forget to add the date until after I photograph it. But anyway, right now I'm just adding lots of layers behind my photo, trying to get as much of this this paper on the page as possible. It's really beautiful paper. I really love this polka dot one especially. I think it's one of my favorites. And then there's that green stripe that is also just super fun, and the strawberries and the yellow. It's just a really fun collection. So just trying to get some of that color onto the page and just make it a fun, you know, bright, pretty layout for summer. So I have my layers done now, and I thought about using the sun that's in the die cut pack, but it was just a little bit too small, and the sun that's on this 3x3 card was a bit bigger. So instead I'm just going to fussy cut it, and it's super easy to fussy cut. It's really just straight lines. So I just fussy cut around the sun. I didn't want all that blue. I want it to kind of sit at the top corner of my photo. So the blue would have been in the way. It would have covered up too much of the photo and of the layers behind the photo. So I just decided to cut it out, and then that's going to just be the basis for a embellishment cluster on the page. And now I'm just playing around with the other elements. I thought about including some of these other strawberry bits because again, I have that strawberry photo or paper behind my photo, and I do have a fruity drink in my hand, but they don't end up staying on the page. There were just other elements that I felt like worked better. The strawberries certainly aren't the focus here, so some of the other things that were in this collection just felt better on the page. It felt more purposeful on the page, so I'm going to go with those instead. But for right now, I'm just playing around and seeing if it'll work. I decided to do the same thing with this card with the pool on it. I decided to fussy cut around it just because it was looking a little too blocky. I have that come out and play card at the bottom. That's going to be my title, and I am going to leave that one as a square. But with the other square on top of it, it just felt way too blocky on the page. So by fussy cutting around it, I still get to have the element on the page, but it doesn't, you know, feel too blocky, and it has a more organic kind of flow on the page. So again, just looking through all of the other elements to see what else I can pull in. I really like those sunglasses, so I am going to end up including a few of those. There was, I think, 2 pairs in the die cuts, so I add those, and then I think maybe I cut another one out of that 2x2 card. Yeah, I'm going to fussy cut the red ones out of this 2x2 card just because I wanted another little bit of red on this page. So again, super easy to fussy cut. And then I have, you know, a couple more I can fussy cut as well to include on other pages. So just trying to cut them as close as possible because the other two don't have a border around them, so I didn't want really any of that orange border around these. And then really it's just all about playing around with the page and all the different elements. I want to include some of the puffy stickers, and there are a couple little speech bubbles that I thought would be a lot of fun to include. So there's this one that says "Hello Sunshine," which I thought was perfect for this page. And there's another one there at the top, and I can't remember what it says. But again, just, you know, a fun page. This is not what I would call my normal style, at least not anymore. I think this is closer to what I maybe would have created a few years back with the pattern paper background and all of these fun bright colors and kind of whimsical elements. I tend to be more, I don't know, a more clean, I guess, scrapbooker these days, but I just had so much fun playing with these things. And one of the best parts about this whole process was that I was using things that had sat in my stash and that I had actually felt really guilty about not using for years. So I was happy to get them on a page, like I said, and actually use them. And it just was fun. It was just fun to play with these really whimsical elements. So what I'm doing right now is just adding some foam adhesive behind some of these fussy cut things and die cuts. So it was looking really flat to me. The page was looking really flat since it was all just paper, right? I didn't have anything but paper on the page. So something needed to come up off of the page just to make it not feel so one-dimensional. And what I'm doing now, I have this little very messy container of embroidery thread, and I knew I had some kind of scrap embroidery thread in there that was from another recent project. So I'm just taking that thread and winding it, kind of making a little thread ball. I'm channeling Missy Whidden and adding some colored thread behind some of these elements that I'm popping up. So I'm using just some yellow thread behind the sun, and I am certainly no Missy Whidden. I could not get that thread to go where I wanted it to go for the life of me. So I play around with it and mess around with it and try to get it to lay the way I want it to, so that you can see it on the page, but that it's not overwhelming as well. So, and I think I add some more, trying to get it to stick out in exactly the place I wanted it to. But you know, it's thread. It's not going to do exactly what you want it to ever. But yeah, I still like the additional texture that adds on the page, and it also adds some color. So it's a good way to bring in additional texture and color to your page without having to add lots of other embellishments or other elements. So there isn't, you know, a huge amount of embellishments or elements in this kit, but I was able to get a full page, obviously, with just these few things that were here. So I'm going to add some more thread to a couple other places on the page, just so that it makes more sense. When you do things in multiple places, it ties them together and just makes them make more sense on the page than it would if it was just only in that one spot. So I think I have some blue thread. I'm going to add that behind these red sunglasses to bring in some more of that kind of teal blue color that's in a lot of the elements, as well as my background. And I think that's it for the thread. I think I'm ready to just add some finishing touches. So I grabbed the puffy sticker, and I'm going to end up using a few of the hearts. So I think I add 3 or maybe 4 hearts to the page. There were quite a few puffy hearts on this sticker sheet, and they're super adorable, super cute. I also added a little phrase below my title, and I think that might be it. Oh no, I add a little arrow under the sun as well. And then that is pretty much going to do it. I'm going to add my journaling. Oh, I'm just making sure everything is glued down. Those thread bundles needed some extra adhesive just to make sure that they stuck in place, since the only thing behind them are those foam dots. So I wanted to make sure that they didn't come unraveled on the page. So I'm just adding a little bit of liquid adhesive in both of those spots. And then I do add the date. I did, at least I tried to add the date. I got out some white, Brilliance white ink and a date stamp, and I thought I would use that to add the date, but it totally did not show up. I have the worst luck with white ink. I don't know what the deal is, but yeah, it did not show up at all. So then I think I got out some light blue ink to try that, and so I just kind of stamped over the top of it. But then later on, you definitely can't see it. So I think after I photograph everything and realize that date is definitely not showing up, and you'll see in the close-up, it just looks like a mess, like there's a little mess above that speech bubble. So I go in later and just write the date with a white pen, which is what I'm going to use to do my journaling here in a minute. So I have a ruler there. I'm going to make some lines just under my title and add just a few lines of journaling in that white Jelly Roll pen. And then that's going to be it for this spread. So I hope you've enjoyed seeing this process. It's something a little bit different for me. If you did enjoy it, there are a couple more videos coming up this week using the same collection. I wanted to use up as much as I could, so I tried to do 3 different types of projects using it. So you will see those. And if you liked this whole idea of using these older products, I do have some other collections in my stash that I'd like to do the same thing with. So if you'd like to see those videos, just leave me a comment below letting me know, and I will go ahead and film those and get them added to my channel. So there are lots of close-up photos coming up at the end of this video, so you can see all the little details. If you enjoyed this video, please do give it a thumbs up, and be sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you back here soon.